Should I put your name? But the name we have there is Nemsa headquarters. Is that okay?
I'm the CEO, and the chief executive. Whatever is there, what to show.
Good afternoon, sir. My MD, sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I think we are good to go. We are good to go. Okay. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure once again to welcome you to this wonderful and beautiful edition of our monthly interactive and interview session inside the arena. Interestingly, just like a joke, today is the 40th edition of this program, and we have inside the arena a very distinguished Nigerian engineer who has caught his niche in the engineering profession. I will say that he has traversed the length and breadth of the engineering profession, both vertically and horizontally. Today, he sits as the managing director and chief electricity inspector of the Federation of the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, Nemsa. It's my pleasure to welcome inside the arena a very distinguished engineer, Aliyu Tukur Tahir, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. When I had the opportunity to listen to my senior engineers talk on this arena, I felt I've not have that qualification to be there. But I thank you so much. I want to welcome all our engineers on board to say that I'm pleased to be with them today to share my experiences.
Thank you, sir. And I still remain your host. My name is Engineer Ben Osiyoko. And for those who have been joining us for many years, you know that the background today is different because I'm hosting all the way from the only city in Nigeria where you can have your tomorrow today. And that is the co-city state, the Enugu state. That's where we are hosting from today. Now, before we start, let me set the ground rules. We have 3 segments of this program. We have what we call the direct free kick, where the questions will be directed to the guest, and he will answer the questions. And then from the direct free kick segment, we go to the corner kick, where the participants will be allowed to ask questions. And after the corner kick segment, we now go to the extra time, where we also put the participants on the hot seat. And then the lucky participants today will be going home with prizes. So we have today, as I said, once again, inside the arena, a very distinguished engineer, Aliyu Tukur Tahir, who is the MD of Nemsa. And I can also cite very distinguished engineers who have joined us so far in this program. I can cite Engineer Ali Masuya, who is the immediate past president of Koren, who has also joined us in this event. In the course of this program, we are going to also acknowledge so many of our distinguished engineers who will be joining us for this program today. Now we go with the first question, sir. Can you tell us about Engineer Tahir, his birth, his background, his childhood experience, and his educational journey?
Thank you. I think you've already announced my name. I'm Engineer Aliyu Tukur Tahir. I was born in Dumbulwa town, which is a town within the Fika local government area of Yobe State, a young state. I was born to a family who are farmers that relied on subsistence farming. And at the tender age of 3 years, I think I was taken by my grandparents. So I grew up under their care. When you say you grew up under the care of your grandparents, there's some belief that maybe you may be one of the small child. But that was not because my grandfather then was a teacher of the Quranic school, and I started learning the Quranic lessons right from the age of 3.5 or thereabout. He was so disciplinarian to the core that I started with a tight schedule. Early in the morning by 6 a.m., we start the lessons. By 8 a.m., the first lesson, the morning lesson is over, and we resume by 4 p.m. to close around 6 p.m. And the time between the morning lesson and the evening lesson is the time we now use to accompany our parents to the farm, to help them in farming. I can remember being from a Fulani background. I was also involved in rearing the cattle of the family. So you can see that hard work from the beginning. So it was not actually an easy life when you now grow up under your grandfather as it used to. I can remember when my grandfather registered me at the Dumbulwa Primary School. At that time, the primary one have already gone far, almost at the end of the first term. That was when I joined them. The first challenge was how to catch up with my classmates. But I came with an advantage, and the advantage has to do with already learned the Arabic words. I can read and write at that time, so I have that advantage. And within a short time, I was able to overcome that challenge, and to the point that I topped the class at the end of the primary one. I know they said the reward of hard work is additional work. That was the time I was made the monitor of my class. I've been the monitor of my class throughout the primary school career, up to the point I became the head boy of the primary school at our final year. Also, I can remember I was one of those that got admission into the unity schools, the federal government colleges. I can remember I got admission in the federal government college, Maiduguri, where I did my secondary school. And at the secondary school I was having that passion in mathematics. To the point that even my classmates today, when they see me, there's a nickname they used to call me, calculus. When you're doing additional mathematics in the secondary school, you start with that topics, calculus. And I was so good in it to the point that I was teaching my classmates, and that also made me to learn more in mathematics. And I think that propelled me to read electrical engineering, because looking at the engineering field, the only one that has more mathematics in it is, I think, you all agree with me, the electrical engineering profession. I know our career and counseling guidance then at the secondary school has an assignment, because at that time there was no adequate doctors in the country. So there was pressure for science students to go for medicine. I can remember I was part of the team that were taken on tower to the University Teaching Hospital then at Maiduguri. But unfortunately, the first thing I saw at the University Teaching Hospital was the fact that at that time the mortuary was filled to capacity. And that really push me out of that career completely and to continue to pursue my electrical engineering career. After the secondary school, I now got admission into the university, which was I can remember I got admission into SBS of the Ahmadu Bello University area. On getting there, my admission through the JAM also came out, which was the admission at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. I think looking at that JAM admission is the most assured one, because SBS, you have to do another exam before you're able to take into the university. So I decided to go to Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. Unknowingly, I don't know that the course then was 6 years. I wanted to run away, but because I cannot go back to ADU at that time, I have to stay at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University to pursue the 6 years engineering first degree up to 600 level. The former NSC president, Engineer Tasi Ubudil, was my classmate at the university. He can also, I'm very sure he will also remember this. And that was how we now struggle to graduate from the university at that time. I think this is just a brief of my upbringing. You've muted yourself.
Okay, let me take you a little bit. Okay, what was life like growing up in Fika, and how did your upbringing shape your character and work ethics?
Yeah, I just want to quickly correct that. I was born at Dumburwa, which is a town within Fika local government area of Yobe State. So I didn't grow up at Fika, yes. But I can quickly say that the upbringing really shaped my character, and of course, early childhood experiences, family dynamics, and cultural environment all play a great role in forming my values, beliefs, and behavioral patterns. When I started, I talked about being under the care of my grandfather, which was disciplinarian and was a teacher, and I was one of his students as well, with a tight schedule of activities. At that time, can remember I hardly have a time to go and play with my mates. That really shaped my character throughout. So that's that training I had initially, and that tight schedule, and that guidance. In those time, at that time in the village, it's a community that it's not only your father or your grandfather that will guide you. All the neighbors, everyone, all elders are part of guidance to a child. So at that time, when your neighbor punish you for an offense, it's not going to trigger your parents coming out to find out what is the reason why are you doing that. They all believe that yes, everyone is part of guiding the child to a good behavior. Yeah.
Now you have touched about your education. What I want to ask you is, before you got admission into the university, there were other engineering subjects or courses, civil, mechanical, and agricultural, chemical. Why specifically did you choose electronics? And what were your early academic challenges? And how did you overcome the hurdle of studying engineering in the 80s in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you. I can remember in the village then, there was no electricity, but now we have electricity. And the curiosity then, as a child, I can remember when we started playing with toys, You know, at that time, we don't have all these ready-made toys that we buy from supermarkets. You have to make your own toy. I can remember I was really interested in, constructing a car, particularly a lorry, and then I have to provide, headlamps for them, and then using battery to power the headlamps. And it was so fascinating in the night at the villages, and that really pushed me to know more about electricity. I remember when we visited our relations in towns where electricity is, so fascinated with electricity. And you can also recall at the beginning I talked about the passion I have in mathematics. I think these two definitely drove me to read electrical engineering as a career.
Okay. Now, starting out as a power officer too in 1993, what was your first major challenge in public service?
Yeah, I can remember I didn't start my career at the Federal Ministry of Power. I started from my state, a young state then. I started with the Radio Corporation of Yobe State. And at that time, the state was newly created. The Radio Corporation of Borno State then was now have to now divide those instruments between the two states. And luckily for us, we got the old equipment. So my first challenge then was how to revive those old equipment so that the new radio station can start operating immediately. And I was challenged, and I really, with my colleagues, we did a lot of work to revive them to the point that the management recognized my sincerity, my hard work, and it was decided that they will reward me. And I can remember the reward was an accelerated promotion, and from level 8 to 12 at that time, and that caused a lot of tension at the organization. Fortunately or unfortunately, at that time, I now got the appointment with the Federal Ministry of Power, and I have to run away from the organization. Promise me. When I came to Ministry of Power, then it was, we were in Lagos, and coming from the core north, definitely staying in Lagos with all the challenges, traffic, have to wake up very early in the morning to go to the office and so on and so forth. I was really disturbed because as a power officer then, I was with the Department of Power, and the Department of Power, the ministry then, were only based at the headquarters. So the first challenge is how do I be transferred to a department, the Electrical Inspectorate Services Department, that have field offices, so that I'll be able to get transferred to outside Lagos at that time. And it has never been done at the ministry. And luckily for me, I think after much effort, a lot of pressure, I think I was finally transferred to Electrical Inspectorate Services Department of the ministry. One of the reasons I think I also did my NYC with the Ministry of Power at the Electrical Inspectorate Department at Ibadan. So I have been sure I have that little experience, so that's really pushing me to that Electrical Inspectorate Department of the ministry. And that also thing I can remember I started at Kano.
You have spent nearly 30 years in the power sector. What has kept you focused, or what has driven you all through these years?
Yeah, you see, it's the passion I have for the electrical engineering career, and the passion I have for the inspectorate services. If you can, do your NYSC, or the Inspector Services Department, involved in inspection, testing, and certification of electrical installations across the power value chain of generation, transmission, distribution, as well as at the utilization level from the beginning. I've already developed that passion, and that kept me going throughout the career. And another thing is that, electricity has become part of our daily life. We cannot do without electricity, even at that time, because we do a lot with electricity. And seeing that engineering generally is to solve problems, and that passion to solving problems really prefer me to continue in this career. And when we started, then I think there were a lot of experienced hands in the power sector. We had a lot of mentoring. I can remember when NEPA then was recruiting, I think our principals were thinking that we all run to NEPA. I can remember them calling us and, to talk to us. And at that point, I think I told them that I don't have any interest in going to NEPA, because staying at the ministry where the policy that NEPA depend on is developed, I think is better for me than even to go to NEPA. And that helped a lot in, making me to stay on this career. You can see throughout, I started with the state, coming to the Ministry of Power, and I'm still at the Ministry of Power. So you can imagine the kind of experience we've gathered over these 3 decades.
Okay, you started at the head office, and then you found your way back to field inspections, and then from the field you have transitioned to leadership roles. What bold decisions helped you move your career to where you have found yourself now?
Yeah, thank you for this this question. It's not a transition per se, because I look at the leadership as just an added responsibility. Because as a leader, as the Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, I'm still an inspector. So the inspectorate duties that we've been carrying out is still continue. So I don't think there was actually a transition, and it was just an added responsibility. Leadership also come with all its own challenges, and I said earlier on that we are lucky. We're one of the set that were lucky to have worked under very experienced engineers. I can remember Engineer Gada of blessed memory, Engineer Olapade, Engineer of recent Engineer Weso, and so many others, very articulate engineers, and that helped us a lot. We had a lot of mentoring, and that also, helped us to move seamlessly into the leadership position without any challenge.
You were head of inspectorate services at Nemsa, and what was your biggest professional hurdle, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, thank you. I was part of the pioneering staff of Nemsa. I can remember when we came in, it was then an Electricity Management Services Limited. I was privileged to start the department of the Technical Inspectorate Services. And, we at that time was part of the management under the leadership of Engineer Peter Eweso. So right from the beginning, I was part of the management of the agency, the young agency. One of the biggest challenge then when we started the Department of the Inspectorate Services was the issue of, having recognition from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, because they are in charge of developing the technical standards and regulations that we enforce. So imagine a technical standards and regulation that you enforce that does not recognize you as an enforcer. So that was one of the greatest hurdles that we encountered. I can remember what we did then was to quickly come up, touch base with the regulator and then start up collaborative efforts. And that's really paid off a lot. That helped us to surmount that challenge. We are not yet there where we want to be, but this collaboration and synergy is already ongoing, and we are moving ahead with it. And when you don't have such, definitely there's no way you'll be able to carry out the enforcement of technical standards and regulation in the country effectively. There are other challenges, but I think we may not have time for me to go through them.
How did you navigate the bureaucracy and pressure of implementing reforms in the power sector?
Yeah, I can remember when the power sector reform came on board. That was around 1999. That was the first time we have a clear vision in the power sector. And I can remember there was a roadmap for power sector reform, which has two objectives then, and the change of ownership of the asset, and then the service improvement. I was at the ministry then, and I can remember working with the management then, because I was also an assistant director at the peak of that reform program. And luckily for me too, I was also appointed the secretary of the Presidential Task Force on Power that actually oversaw the reform program, the supervision, ensuring that all the milestones and the activities are carried out by various stakeholders of the power sector. So I've seen it all, and I've gone through it, because as the secretary then I was in charge of the administration of the task force, and we did a lot. One of the major challenges is that when the budgetary allocations were stopped to the utility companies, then we have to work hard so that the networks in the country will not be affected. And then we came up with a lot of programs. I can remember I was heading a team that actually went through the ports in the country to carry out inventory of all power equipment containers. I remember then we were able to carry out the inventory of about 500 containers. And that really, gave me serious concern, because these containers are meant for various power projects across the country. And it became obvious that these projects were actually stored while those containers are under demurrage at the ports. And one of the efforts we made at that time was to make sure that these containers are cleared and these projects are actually reactivated. And that's one of the successes we had through my office as the secretary of the Presidential Task Force on Power.
Now, let's now come to your current position as MD. What gave you the confidence to lead Nemsa as MD CEO and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation?
You see, looking at my career, I started as an inspector, electrical inspector, and I grew up in the inspectorate department. So I've gathered a lot of experience. You know, that experience, looking at the agency Nemsa, when you look at the act establishing the agency, there are requirements for one to become an MD of that agency. And it's one of the first engineering agencies that have that kind of requirements in the sector. How I wish all the other agencies in the power sector have these requirements, because we have to have at least 20 years experience, and you have to be an inspector, and so on and so forth. And then because of the wealth of experience I've gathered in the service, because of the kind of mentorship I have with our seniors, it became natural that I'm just a natural successor of the last management, and being also part of the first management, I was, that also propelled me to assume that leadership. And when I came in, it was so easy for me because I was part and parcel of the laying foundation of the agency. So I knew exactly where we were, and then I knew exactly where we want to go. And it's just hit the road running.
You have created 4 additional inspectorate field offices. What was the motivation behind this move?
Yeah, thank you. Looking at the very important mandate of the agency that has to do with, enforcement of technical standards and regulations, it means that everywhere where we use electricity, Nemsa is supposed to be there. And the number of offices we inherited in the Ministry of Power then was just 15, and that means we are not even at every state of the Federation. So as my role also as the Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, there's also need for our services to be felt across the length and breadth of the entire country. And that's, push us to ensure that we open more offices to be able to bring our services closer to the populace. It's unfortunate, the funding challenge have restricted us from having that, getting where we want to, but we are pushing. We will now have 21 inspectorate field offices from the 15 that we inherited. So you can see the kind of progress we are making, but hopefully we're also pushing to open more offices across the country. Thank you.
What is the most difficult inspection or certification assignment you have ever handled? And what did you learn from it? And how do you ensure safety and compliance in a sector where lives are at stake every day?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, can I remember some of these inspections, where you carry out thousands of them to, single out one that you've encountered challenges. Yes, of course, there are some of them that we encountered a lot of challenges. And I rather answer the second part of the question, where you said one. Maybe you need to quickly recap that one. I think we are not hearing you. The network, maybe you've muted yourself. Can you unmute?
Okay.
Yeah.
I still, what is the most difficult inspection or certification assignment you have ever handled? And what did you learn from it? And how do you ensure safety and compliance in a sector where lives are at stake every day?
I said earlier on, we did a lot of inspections, and we I cannot remember exactly, but I can quickly remember one of the investigation we carried out of an accident, of electrical accident. It was so, I say funny, because when we went for the investigation, we discovered that there are misunderstanding between neighbors. In a community where you have a neighborhood, one neighbor is at loggerhead with the other neighbor, and suddenly the service wires of one of the neighbors, snapped and fell on the ground, and then one of the child of the other neighbor now came playing around and got electrocuted. So those phones are just flared up and say it was deliberate. It was deliberate, and even from the initial say they wanted to kill them, and that's part of the whole thing. So I just found myself in that kind of situation, and I didn't know how to interview them. So when I brought them together, I ended up to a serious fight that will have to involve the police, and that was one of such experiences we got in the course of the job. How I ensure safety and compliance in the sector where lives are at stake every day, I think becoming the leader, or even right from the beginning, what we did was to look at the critical roles of the agency and the activities of the agency, where we quickly group those activities into 5 areas. One of such area has to do with the new electrical installations that are coming in before they are being put into use, where we carry out, technical inspection, testing, and certification of such electrical installation before they are allowed to be used. The second area has to do with the electrical materials and equipment themselves, and where we have activities that has to do with the testing and certification of these electrical materials and equipment before they are allowed to be used for our electricity networks. I can give you examples. We certify electricity meters, we certify concrete poles, we certify the cables, conductors, and so on and so forth, insulators across the country. The third area has to do with the personnel themselves that carry out the installation works in the country, where we ensure that through certification that they have the necessary competence and they have the skill before they are allowed to carry out the installation works. And through the inspections that we carry out, we also monitor their performances, and we have sanctions that follows for not performing well. The fourth area has to do with the monitoring and of the existing networks, where we carry out 3 kind of monitorings of the networks. We have the national monitorings, where we identify challenge area in the networks and determine those challenges and provide solutions for them. And then we also have the daily monitoring of the networks, where we escalate those observations to utility companies to ensure that they are carried out effectively. We also have monitoring with the media, where we use such opportunity to sensitize the public on the dangers, on the consequences of those defects that we see across the networks. And this also shame the utility companies to ensure that they carry out effective corrections of the networks. And the last one has to do with the general safety in the networks, where we carry out investigation of electrical incidents across the country. We also carry out safety performance audits of the utility companies. We also run these utility companies on their monthly safety performances. So these are the 5 areas that we put in carrying out our activities to ensure there's effective enforcement. We have so many facilitation measures that we did, where we ensure that we all have the necessary certifications, the ISO certifications. For example, the accreditation of our certification schemes under ISO 17024, the accreditation of our laboratories under ISO 17025, and then the quality management system under ISO 9001. All these certifications are what Nemsa has acquired. We're about to acquire the third one. So this also has helped us to have global recognition of all our activities. I think we also, because of the innovations that are coming in and so on, we're already working on automating all our processes, all our activities. And very soon we'll start unveiling some of the platforms that we use to carry out inspections seamlessly, online, real time across the country. So these are efforts that we put to ensure that there's compliance to technical standards, there's compliance to requirements of safety across the country.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, for those who are just joining us, we have inside the arena a very distinguished Nigerian engineer, the managing director and chief electrical inspector of the Federation, the MD of the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, Nemsa, Engineer Aliyu Tukur Tahir, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So as we wind it up, let me quickly ask you, you have undergone trainings in Switzerland, the United States, India, and many countries. How have international exposures influenced your performance?
Thank you for this. I can remember one of the training we attended at the US that has to do with the safety of the inspectors. At the end of the training, I think I realized one thing, that probably I've killed myself several times before now, because some of the things we carried out during the inspections, that was when I now realized that they are highly risky. And at the end of that training, it became obvious that I would not venture in such activities, because that training was, how will the inspector be safe for him to be able to carry out his inspections? And we've seen a lot of scenarios, incidences, and that really shaped our thinking of how we even carry out the investigation of electrical installations, electrical accidents across the country. And we've also have interactions with international best practices, especially in the field of enforcement of technical standards and regulations. And that gave us some of the ideas that we are currently applying at the agency in order to have effective enforcement of technical standards and regulations in the country. And so many other trainings that we attended. A lot of experiences really came by them, and they are really helping us. We're also looking at, having, tower of, these agencies, of similar agencies in developed countries, to also be able to look at how we're going to operate within the kind of liberalization brought about by the Electricity Act 2023 in the country, where the state governments are now allowed to have their own, they regulate their own electricity market. And this is also bringing a new challenge to the agency, which we are currently, collaborating with the state governments and all other stakeholders to overcome. Thank you.
Talking about mentorship, what is your strategy for mentoring young engineers?
Thank you so much. Looking at the mandates of the agency, which has to do with the enforcement of technical standards and regulations, you agree with me that it is always very difficult to find experienced hands outside. Definitely you have to. do a lot of training and retraining to be able to get that expertise. And I can remember we made a proposal of an internship program that will catch the engineers young. That program has to do with, getting fresh NYSC graduates, electrical engineers, and to bring them on board, carry out the training with NAPTIN, and then deploy them to our field offices, and then to also have one-on-one mentorship with our field engineers across the country. And with all this, and when we now, send this proposal to the ministry for approval, I think the minister was so happy about it, and he said this is a program that has to take up itself, because the sector generally is having this capacity of having this gap and in human capacity across the sector, especially the engineers. Most of the experienced engineers have retired. Some are already about to retire, so that gap needs to be closed quickly. I think the ministry has already taken up that internship program. Very soon, with NAPTIN, they will, with Nemsa as well, will roll out that internship program that will involve all our young engineers across the country.
Okay. How do you see the future of power engineering in Nigeria? And what innovations or reforms would you like to see to improve the safety and standards of Nigeria's power infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you. The technology is changing, and we cannot shy away from it. And when the technology is changing, we also need to change. We need to come up with new ways, of carrying out our statutory activities. Our young engineers that are coming up, we've seen some of them that have passion for the electrical engineering career, and we've seen a lot that don't have those passion because our youth today actually looked at money issue. How do I make money quickly to yourself? And this really, we need to work hard. And we've seen the laxity in mentoring young engineers, especially the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We need to have a lot of programs that will involve the younger ones, that will mentor them across all, all levels of engineering in the country. Some of the innovations we are coming up with, apart from the internship programs, is ensuring that these certified electrical personnel that work in the power sector are also trained. So we're already working with NAPTIN and some of the association of this, certified engineers to ensure that this training is carried out. There are a lot of other innovations that we're looking at, but let me say that the challenges, in employing more hands across the country because of the cost involved has also prevented us from actually going into this as quickly as possible. That's one of the reasons why we now have resorted to the internship program. And we are lucky that the ministry has taken it up, and very soon it will be rolled out. I think I'll stop here. Maybe when the next question, when I remember some of these things, I'll be able to tell you.
Okay. I will ask, if you were to start your career all over again, what would you do differently?
Thank you. It's funny, but I think if I'm to start my career all over again, I could have gone to a private practice. I know when we started, actually, as an employee of government, it was with the promise that after some times we'll be on our own. Some of our colleagues that became retired or left the government services to be on their own. I've seen a lot of progress. I've seen a lot of support, but I'm not regretting coming this so far in government services. But that's exactly when I'm to start my career. I think I could have gone out of these services long time ago.
All right, that's fine. Okay, we are coming to the end of the program. Quickly, have you written any book about your life? And if not, if you were to write a book about your life or career, what title would you give it and why?
I'm fortunate to have a lot of experience in this sector. I think if I'm to write a book, I've not written one, and I have the intention of writing one. I think the first topic that will come to my mind is reflection on my career as an electrical inspector. I think this will enable me to, catalog all the experiences, and that book definitely will guide.
Wow. Please stay tuned while we wait for. Okay, go on, sir. You can unmute.
Can you hear me? Sorry for English. Yeah, I said because of the experience, I agree with you that yes, we have to write a book. And the topic I'm also looking at now, which I've started but I've not gone far, is reflection on my career as an electrical inspector. And that's one of the fields that we don't have, that you hardly see written books on. So I think it's good for us to have start having such documentations. We believe that with such documentations, they will guide the young ones that are growing in the area of electrical inspections across the country.
Wow, that would be very interesting, and I look forward to seeing that. I believe that it will go a long way, as you rightly say, to inspiring those in that line of profession, at least to share from your own experience, because having worked in the field for many years and then reaching the peak of your career as a chief electrical inspector, of the Federation, I think that will be a book that will be very, very impactful in the lives of those who are coming behind. Okay, on a final note, we ask, what message do you have for young engineers, and what, who want to, lead, innovate and make, national impacts like you?
Thank you. I think for our young engineers, I want to say that they should have focus, they should be dedicated, they should have strong passion for the electrical engineering, because there are a lot of opportunities in the sector, and these opportunities are there for the young ones and aspiring electrical engineers to tap from. Also, there's need to be working, because throughout my career, I've seen that if you are hardworking and sincere, even your enemy will definitely have to work with you, and that will, make everyone to be your friend, and because they know that there's no way you should be able to achieve that work without, having that the hardworking personality around them. So that has propelled me a lot in my career.
All right. Thank you very much. The Managing Director of Nemsa and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, Engineer Aliyu Tukur Tahir, fellow of the Nigerian Site of Engineers, for being our guest inside the arena today. I must say it's been a very wonderful time having you inside the arena. Just like I said when we are starting, it's been a milestone from the very first day we held this program some 3 years ago to today. Interestingly, the man who opened the arena, the first guest we had inside the arena, I think this is worth celebrating. Engineer Alima Suya Rabiu, the immediate past president of Kore. Mr. President, it's a pleasure to have you, to see that the foundation you laid has gone a milestone, and it has, reached, the 40th, edition of it. I believe in the course of this program, we are going to allow you to, make some comments, and is worth celebrating. Once again, thank you for kickstarting it. I want to thank our guest for being the 40th guest we are having inside the arena today. Now we are going to the next segment of this program, which is what we call the corner kick segment. It is the time we allow the participants also to, air their view by, asking questions, but we have some rules. If you have a question as a participant, you have to click the reaction button or react button and then raise your hand. We allow you to unmute. Please, when you are unmuted, you go straight to the question. No pleasantries, just, ask your question directly. I can see the first hand, Engineer FK AGKM. Okay, you can go on, sir, with your question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Fidelis AGKM. Well, you say we shouldn't go to pleasantries, but at least we can commend the lecturer for coming along and talking to us. That's courteous. So thank you very much for your lecture. I was particularly pleased to hear that if you were to start life all over again, you wouldn't become a public servant. Why am I saying this? Public servants up to 1960 did their jobs well. Then it was Electricity Corporation of Nigeria. They even had a good football team apart from supplying power regularly. And whenever there was need for power disruption, they gave notice. From Friday, 2 p.m., there will be no power due to maintenance. You have your power at 4 p.m. back. But then suddenly we had independence on 1st of September. I need to talk because old people like me are now beginning to talk. Gowon is talking, Babangida is talking. We need to tell each other the truth. On the 2nd of October 1960, things started going badly because Nigerians were taking over and we have not recovered from it. So please, when you write your book, because you are old enough, would you be able also to put some historical historical events from where things started going wrong? Because I don't think it's right for Ben Osioko to call a public servant distinguished, because they have not really, apart from occupying big positions, getting good perks and all that, they have not performed well in any area of infrastructure, not just electricity, roads, everything. When we compare them, we compare what we have today to what we have on the 1st of October 1960, there's no other way to classify or to measure politicians and public servants and say, no, sir, you are not distinguished, you haven't performed well. So please, in your memoir, in your book, kindly tell your readers what you think went wrong and how we can correct them honestly, in an honest way. so that we can start making a good beginning. Thank you very much. Please, this is not personal. The criticism I brought is not personal at all. I'm just talking about the way things are in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I welcome it. I welcome it, and
you mentioned it.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I welcome your suggestion, because it's something that we need to really put on record, because let the young ones know how it all started and where it went wrong, and then what would we need to do quickly to overcome, to be able to resolve the issues. So I want to thank you for these suggestions, and I want to assure you that it will be definitely looked at while we go ahead and write the books. Thank you.
Okay, next person. Next person. Next question. While we are waiting for the next question, let me quickly, so that we can, do this now, quickly acknowledge some of our very senior colleagues. Please, if I skip your name, forgive me. Who are here present: Engineer Yopela Beredugo, who is a patriarch, who has always remained consistent. I think he was one of also the guests that we had in this program. Engineer Ejikeme, who just spoke, Engineer Oja, Engineer Bako Wakil is also with us, and we have Engineer Collins Agu, who is also here with us, Engineer Bamakentani, Engineer Mbim. Good to have you here. And Engineer Morakinyo, Engineer Professor Aliyu, my VC, you are welcome. And my chairman, Engineer Ahmed Kutigi. I can see Engineer Odunowo here, Engineer Yuba, Engineer Ojebwe, my chairman. You are welcome, Engineer Usman, Engineer Felix Ebuzeme, Engineer Robbie James Uwivre, my chairman and lawyer, Engineer Demisi, you are welcome, and so many other people who have, joined us here in the course of this. And we also acknowledge those who I have skipped: Engineer Charles Ojimado, Engineer Bako Wakil. You can go on, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Tukur. My question is, the safety of our electrical system is closely related to the standard of equipments and appliances that are connected to the system. Just like fake drugs, we have so many substandard electrical appliances and equipments around the country coming in. So to what extent is your organization probably collaborating with Standard Organization of Nigeria to ensure that every equipment that comes into this country to the highest standard? Looking at my function before I retired from the Nigerian Communications Commission, I was Director of Technical Standard and Network Integrity, and it is responsibility of my department to ensure that every telecommunication equipments that come into these countries are type approved by the Commission before they are connected into our. So I don't know whether you have a similar structure in place, and then to what extent is your probably organization collaborating with Standard Organization of Nigeria to ensure that we have quality and standard breakers and general appliances that we use even in the houses in order to ensure safety of our electricity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Agu. There's a provision in on the Act establishing the agency that we should collaborate with SON to ensure that all electrical equipments and materials are of standard and of the right specifications. When we started, we we're still having that collaboration with SON. In fact, what we have an MOU that we signed with SON already, and we have a standing committee between us that look at the substandard electrical materials and equipment in the country. The unfortunate thing is that Nemsa is not at the entry point. So our on is during the inspections of this electrical installations, all these substandard electrical materials and equipment that were discovered are now escalated to SON to ensure that these are removed from the markets. We are not staying there because we are also moving ahead, have started discussions with customs. We've gone far, and we're looking at an avenue where we can also view these electrical materials and equipment that are coming in before they are finally approved to come into the country. A lot of efforts are being carried out on that. We are not there yet where we want to be, and this is being done through a lot of collaboration with so many other agencies. I can remember with the Federal Consumer Protection Commission. I can remember we also have similar MOUs with the Insurance Commission. We're also having collaborations with all the other development partners. But this is so worrisome, as you rightly said. It's really having given us a lot of challenges, especially within our networks presently. Is part of those activities that we've said earlier on, where we have to ensure that all these electrical materials and equipments are certified, tested and certified by Nemsa before they're allowed to be used. We have a lot of them that we are doing so, but also we have a lot of them that we have not brought on board. So we are working hard to bring them on board, and then we are ensuring that these collaborations will eventually lead to the effective getting rid of all this substandard electrical material and equipment in the country. A lot of sensitization too is part of it. We are currently carrying out sensitization programs across the country to ensure that the citizens are well aware of this substandard electrical materials and equipment in the country, are also aware of the consequences, of using them. So from all fronts, we've been attacking this, but this has not, I agree with you, this has not been really felt in the country, but a lot of efforts have been put in place, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We take the final one. Engineer Collins.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. First of all, I want to give a special thanks to Engineer Ben Osioko. This is actually my first time in this platform, by virtue of the fact to send a message. I'm really impressed with the caliber of people I'm seeing here. So keep it up, and we want more of this coming from our engineering society. Engineer Aliyu, Tukur, thank you, sir. Though I came a bit late, but I'm so lucky and happy that I finally met you online. A very fast one, sir. The last time we made inquiries about the number of households that are not metered in Nigeria, we are told 30 million, sir. So maybe you can use this opportunity, or maybe later, to give us an approximate number of metered homes across the nation. Now, we're talking about importation of meters. I feel that with the current administration's slogan of Nigeria First, we should be talking about local production of it. My hub, TD4Pi IoT Hub, we came up with a concept design of a meter costing less than $20 if it is approved. So my question is, how do you support local production of such meters to mitigate the current gaps of metering? How do you encourage manufacturers? Then finally, sir, who is our point of contact that can give us some standards we need and other guidelines? And finally, sir, as an R&D engineer or ICT personnel, I believe that we must have what they call adaptation of technology. There are certain features we have on our meters that may not be required by somebody in the village. So can't we remove some of those features to lower the cost of meter and then reduce the cost of ownership, to make it easily affordable for most of them? I don't see reason why a single phase meter should cost more than $20, as a matter of fact. Thank you very much.
Dr. Agu, I think let me quickly, shed light on our mandates concerning metering. Nemsa's mandate on metering is we carry out testing and certification of these electricity meters before they are allowed to be deployed in the country. And one of the major instruments we use to carry out this activity is the metering code, the national metering code, where we have all the necessary standards and specifications. And our own is to enforce those standards and specifications through the certification, testing and certification of these electricity meters before they are deployed. There are a number of government programs that are already ongoing to close the metering gap. The figures have been changing. It's not a static figure, so I will not be able to give you the exact metering gap that we have in the country. But I think this statistic can be gotten from the Ministry of Power's website and in the NEC website. So concerning the standards and specification for meters, I don't know if you can if everyone is allowed to make inputs, recommendations in the development of the national Nigerian metering code. And you're also part of the stakeholders. So we need to, you can send us one. So through our representatives in the committee, we can table that for amendment of the metering codes to be able to capture all those things that you've suggested. And this code is being reviewed from time to time. So the earlier you do that for us, the better for the sector. So far, we have certified 43 factories of meter manufacturing and assembling in the country. And one of the requirements during our certification process or inspection is we have to see a plan. If you're an assembler, we want to see a plan that you have to be able to now move to manufacturing of that electricity meters in the country. Those plans that we have for those ones that we certified, we're already monitoring the program, for the implementation of the plan. That's the movement from SKD to CKD and the country. So so far we have 43, and the number is increasing. We have our metering department at Nemsa. We have metering services, metering and laboratory services department in Nemsa. I can send you the contact details of our head of metering, who is the contact person on metering at Nemsa, and then you'll be able to interface with him on the next, on the suggestion you just made. And we also have the national meter test stations across the country where we carry out this testing and certification of these meters. We inherited 3 of them from the defunct PSCN, and these have been remodeled, and then we have increased, we have had additional 3, making it 6 national meter test stations across the country. We are building the 7th one our armed functions also include the recertification of these meters in circuit, in line with the National Metering Code. These meters that are already in circuit need to be recertified after some years. So I think I don't know whether I've answered all your questions, but I'm hopeful that when you contact our head of metering, I think he'll be able to give you more details of what you've been asking for. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's enough for the corner kick segment. We have now come to the final lap of this program, and where we also have to put the participants on the hot seat, and that is what we call the extra time. And the first question we are going to ask is, what is the name of the president of NSC that was his classmate? Go. Sir, what is the name of the president of NSC that was your classmate in the university? You can unmute, sir.
Okay.
Sir?
It's Engineer Tasi Ogidari Odil.
Yes. Okay. The first to get that was Engineer, from my own side, is Engineer Olawale Emiola. Olawale Emiola. Okay, is that the first you saw from your side, sir?
Yes, I saw a couple of correct answers, but I cannot remember
the first to send the correct answer. From my own side, what we normally pick is the fastest finger. The first to send in the correct answer. From my own side, I see Olawale Emiola. I think that is from my own side.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, Olawale, let us see your video and let us see your face. Before we finish with Emiola, we ask the final question I'm going to ask will be for the second and third. The first person to pick and the second person to get the correct answer. Where was our guest working when he had double promotion? The name of the office. Okay, so before let me check so we don't reveal the answer before we get that. Okay. So what was the correct answer? Eh?
Thank you, Ben. The correct answer is Radio Corporation of Yobe State.
Fantastic. Radio Corporation of Yobe State. From my own side, the first person I saw, sir, I think we have to decide this. The first person is, no, we can't take editing. I have said it here. Anybody that edited any submission automatically will not be taken. So I can see that Oyekunle has edited it. So I will not take Oyekunle. Radio Corporation, this one wrote in Yobe State. I think that may suffice. Yusuf Olatoye. So which one? We also have Precious Osagie. Do we take in Yobe State and of Yobe State? You have to decide, sir.
It's of Yobe State.
Eh?
It's of Yobe State because the radio corporation belongs to Yobe
Is it
State.
off or in?
It's of Yobe State.
Having said that, I think the person that got it correctly is Precious Osagie. Precious, please, can you, let me see you. After Precious Osagie, we have Chinedu Honor, the next, coming as third. Okay, I want to add you so that I can see your faces. Can you show us your faces, please? Okay, Precious, can you unmute? Can you both unmute your mics? Okay, good. Congratulations, Emiola. Can you unmute? Can you unmute and talk to us, please? Emiola, where are you? Where are you calling from? Where did you join us from?
Lagos.
Oh, Lagos, congratulations. The first prize. Emiola, where did you join us from?
Lagos, I was the one that responded before.
No, Emiola, sorry, Precious.
Okay, I'm joining from Lagos.
Oh, today is Lagos Day. Is it, sir? Is it Lagos that you did your service, or you started work in Lagos?
I did my NYSC at Ibadan.
Ibadan.
Oh, yes, yes.
And you worked in Lagos too?
I also started work with the Ministry of Power in Lagos.
Oh, no wonder today is Lagosians Day. That's why they have chilled. If you're also from Lagos, that means there will be an issue. Honor, can you unmute yourself? Okay, where did you join from?
I joined from 042, Enugu.
Oh, Enugu here?
Yes, sir.
Seriously? Okay, congratulations, Emiola, Osagie, and Honor. Now because I'm not in Abuja now, as I said, your prizes are going to, when I return, I will liaise with our guests. We are going to get the prizes across to the three of you. Congratulations to three of you. I wish to say a very big thank you for participating. And then we now come, before we end the program, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Engineer Felix Olu. Olu is the National Chairman of Nigerian Institution of Electrical Electronics Engineers. Engineer Ayuba, our past Registrar of Current, Engineer Maliki Wopa Kamila, Engineer Ayu Paul, my chairman, I think all the way from United Kingdom, Engineer Wedium Edward, Engineer Damu, Engineer Nenna Igwebwe, Engineer Cyril Onyeneke, former council member of Koren. I think, having said that, I have to go back to my very distinguished, this time, the past president of Koren, and who happened to be the first man to be inside the arena. I'm trying to pick him, to unmute him, Engineer Ali Masuya Rabiu, to make some comments before we wrap it up for today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ben. I acknowledge the presence of very senior colleagues who are here, as already done by the anchor of this program. I have known our guest for today, Engineer Tukur, for a very long time. He was a much younger engineer, or we were much younger engineers. I think when he joined Ministry of Power in Lagos, his first posting outside Lagos, I believe, was Kano, because we met in Kano. He's a very unassuming engineer, a gentleman to the core, but always ready to to play along in the service of the Nigerian Society of Engineers at the time. One thing he did that that pained me a little was that he left Kano without telling me. So the next thing I saw was that he was in Abuja, and as current president, I had a matter to deal with Nemsa, and I went there myself to see the MD. Lord, behold, who was the MD? I saw my friend. I said, oh, the matter is solved. I'm happy that...
I went with you.
Oh, okay, we were together. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that he has agreed to appear inside the arena and shared his engineering experience with some of us, particularly the younger ones who are on the call. I'd like to congratulate Aliyu Tukur, my brother. The first A in my name is also Aliyu, though I don't have YU, I use Ali. So we thank you very much for appearing inside the arena, even though the anchor himself today is not anchoring from where we know. I am also joining from where I have not joined before. I'm in Lagos for the academy program, the Nigerian Academy of Engineering.
Interesting.
So, like he rightly said, I was the first person to appear inside the arena, and it was such a wonderful program. So many people were invited before me. They were scared to appear, but I took the bull by the horn, and everybody started getting interested. So I'd like to congratulate Ben for this wonderful program. Today, we're on the 40th arena, just like yesterday, which means that for 40 months or more now, this program has been running.
Yeah.
Oh, we started in 2021, I think. So it's about 3 years ago. I'd like to urge Ben to continue with this trajectory. It's a very, very important program to a lot of engineers. I hear people talking about it. One other thing I would like to advise is that we should also go outside the engineering family, if you can, to share the insights of the growth of some of our seniors. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think with that, we have come to the end of today's program. Want to once again thank all of you, all the participants, those who have joined us. I can see those who have joined us even from all outside the country. I want to appreciate all of you, and I say may God bless all of you. And I thank most especially our guest for creating time amid his very busy schedule to be part of this program. I thank his technical team who has set up and who has made everything possible for us to have a successful program today. Thank you once again, and I remain your host, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. It's my pleasure to officially sign out for today's event, and see you next month as we also have a very interesting, segment of this, program. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.